So real quick here, here's what I've been looking at as far as the toroids, the electric field, the magnetic field of our plane of existence here. This is in Northwest Africa. And I'm using the ball because it's just quicker to do through Google Earth. But we can zoom in and see that this is a negative polarity strike where an electric strike entered into the surface of the Earth, and it created this circular crater formation. And you can see how it's divided by charge density. So it just goes negative, positive, negative, positive as the distribution of the charge where this strike actually happened in historical times. It was so hot that it actually burned, and they call this welded tuft in geology. So the top layer is actually melted solid, which would be a lot of more the irons and stuff on the outside, but the center is a negative, like gypsum, silicas and salt and so forth on the negative, because it's dielectric on the negative. And then you can just cross it a little bit to the northwest, and you'll find that this is the positive pole. And this area here, so both hits happened exactly at the same time. And this raised up a mountain mesa made of pure iron, and they're actually mining it today. It's an iron mine in this region here. There's a little town called Zerat, and they're actually just barely starting to scratch the surface with the mine, pulling out the iron ores, just on one edge of it, just to give you an idea of how huge this strike was. And this is just a baby, really, in the big picture. You can see that on the outside of it, here's all the crater strikes, which pulled up probably a carbon-rich, oily type materials out of the sand. So the Middle East, we know, is rich in oil. Circuit is in general working. And I wanted to show you, since we know the Italian history and your love of it, this is Vatican City. So when we look at Vatican City from the top here, let it render. Hopefully it'll render clearly. Here it comes. It might take a second here to render it out. There it is. Sorry for the delay, folks. My internet connection's a little slow. Okay, so Vatican City and the fall of Nero and the burning of Rome, and the stories about the blue, white, hot snakes of fire crawling across the ground, burning people alive, and the stones being on fire. If you read the fall of Rome and Nero stories, we see that this is on the south of it, southern strike, where it raised up a mountain range here, a small one, and there's a town in this crater. Is still there today. The center is the vortex force between the two poles. So this is positive. This is the perfectly circular lake to the north of water. And the blast would have kind of been in this zone here. And we can see that there'd be a negative strike, and it carved out a similar concave type of shape along the shoreline. And it hit here, another concave. And you could follow the path of this storm where it struck here, carved it out, and it just keeps striking along the coastline of Italy, all the way down the coastline. Here's another pole here.
Hey, Chris.
Another mountain. Yep.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
Yep. Just left of Rome, there's a place called Viterbo. Have a look at that. Go back to there. Sorry, brother. I just want to point something out to listeners.
There it is.
Yeah, you go back to up there. Yeah, that's where the Farneses and the Orsinis originally came from, Persia. That's their region. They own this region, and that's in between Rome and Venice, Florence. Okay, and they from here all the way up to Florence and Tuscany is where they established themselves. Viterbo. Sorry.
Thank you, Santos.
right in that spot. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a strike there as well, right? You can see the cratering in that zone. So I've been trying to research to find some of the history and the dates, to put some dates to some of these events, because this one doesn't appear to be wasn't that long ago, because the craters are quite small, but it certainly did look like it happened, and it changed the entire coast of Italy in one shot. It just kind of traveled through this area and would have created new mountain areas. And I think it's probably why they abandoned. At one point they were going to make with boats across here in ancient times, and they abandoned the project abruptly for some unknown reason. But I suspect it's because this storm came through, electrical storm, and just fried the coast, and they had to recuperate or recover from that. On the grand scale,
without getting it wrong, Chris, a lot of this happened in one go, didn't it?
That's really huge.
Well, from my research, from my research, it seems that the system as a whole, over time, as it would naturally, it's electric, right? So over time, it does tend to seem to lose a little bit of energy, like Santos was saying. It's birthed, it comes into existence, and then it slowly loses some energy over time. I don't know how long, billions of whatever years, however long that Brahma says that's going to last, right? Then eventually it will change and morph and become something else. But so I think history are kind of cyclical, right? There was a big one that obviously came all the way down through here, and it created all this stuff in the Middle East and Egypt and all those stories of the falling civilizations, the lost city of Atlantis, etc. And the evidence is clearly there. Everywhere you find a little black spot, you go in there, you'll find a crater zone where they were just blown out, right? It struck here, positive, negative pole, right? It's not a volcano, but there's the evidence of the strike. It just went bang, right? And instantly, there it is. They raised up the center, almost like a moon crater. And I think it's important that we kind of study this process so that we know that, the negative sides of things have a quicker regrowth. And we know now, as we learn our natural sciences, that, if you put plants on a negative plate, they'll grow faster. It's helped plant growth. I think this is part of this is the big part that they're trying to hide from the history too, is the ability that we had in the past to have free energy. Because the circuit is relatively simple. You have a positive and negative pole. If we look at Rome again, it's one of the best examples. You have a positive and negative pole. There's an iron-rich mountain range that would have been an ion sink next to a saltwater dielectric. Well, there's your 4 points of your battery, right? Positive, negative, neutral, and the neutral splits in two, and you get the positive, negative with the double split on the nucleus, and bang, there's your power, right? And we're sitting on this power, right? Because if you think about it, this is still active today, right? You could actually tap into some of these areas and have free energy. And I think in part that's probably what the pyramids were, at least on some level, functioning as. They would have been a dielectric energy source to generate hydrogen and electricity and all sorts of things. Healing, negative ion healings to help plant growth, and tapping into the natural energies of our realm. So that's Santos.
Great stuff, Chris. Chris, this is a great discovery. This is awesome, because this is validating the electric universe of matter understandings that are now very, very much on people's lips. Everybody's starting to see the electrical nature. That's great, because electricity is the transverse wave. It produces material phenomena. Back of it, of course, is the longitudinal scalar wave, which is magnetic. And as the great scientist who's now in his 90s, John, what's his name? If you go to video and punch in magnetricity, John. Oh, gee, I'm so disappointed I forget his name right now. Kowalski or something like that. Anyway, he's got a video about magnetism and electricity. He says, magnetism is spiritual, electricity is material. I watched that vid about 4 or 5 years ago, and I jumped out of my skin. I thought, yes, yes. And this guy is totally nutted out the difference between magnetism, essentially, and electricity. But what you're showing here, Chris, is the effect and how these electrical strikes of creation are forming matter. Thunderbolts have explained that, thunderbolts of the universe, I think it's called. Those guys dealing with the electric universe. And so this is an evidence of it. And what a better evidence on the earth. I don't see many people pointing this out, you know, these magical aspects to the earth, things called ley lines and vortexes and Bermuda triangles and disappearing planes and objects in the fourth dimension, unexplainable things. Well, this is it, you know, we have to come to terms with the electrical nature on 3D and the magnetic dielectric nature in 4D, creating a world which is mixed, and it's deliberate, and it has to be. And so it kind of divides the sheep from the goat. The materialists will not partake of the higher understandings because they're distracted, eating and drinking, buying and selling till the flood comes and sweeps them all away. And here we are paying attention. I've always said, if you want syncretism, all you got to do is pay attention. You don't have to be intelligent. I'm not. well, I am. We all are. But I'm not saying that I'm a genius and that's how I found syncretism. No, it's ever since I was a little boy, I paid attention. You know, I would go to the Jehovah's Witness meetings, and they're talking about Moses parting the Red Sea and all the parables in the Bible, and I would pay attention to them. I would store them in my heart. I didn't think, well, it sounds mythological and churchy, you know, I'll just disregard it, as most people do. No, I paid attention to every little minute and second and hour of my waking hours. I paid attention. And this is what we're doing here. We're paying attention. You go to Google Earth and you saw this, and it's talking to you. It's explaining you know, aspects of nature which most people will never discover. You know, they're off to the football, off shopping. Nothing wrong with those things, but that's about the limit of their attention span, and you know, and they will be rewarded according to their deeds. May they be blessed. I hope they all awaken, but I don't see it happening real quick.
I hope so too.
Go out, Santa. You just go out for me, or do you start? There's the sun.
Sorry?
There's the sun. There's that. Do you just go out? Just go out a normal. Are you looking at everything? Is so changed.
You're breaking up, Karen.
I was saying. I think you have to
mute yourself for a second.
Okay.
I was just saying, when you go out for a meal, do you just go out and have a meal and sit in that restaurant and, like you're just saying, what everybody's doing, they're just going to the football, or when you go out, are you noticing everything all the time? Because I think most flat earthers, you know, long gone the days when I went out for a t-shirt, I'm out and like, oh, there's the sun there today, it's up there, and oh, there's that, and oh, there's a chemtrail. I don't change. I don't look at it the same anymore. It's the same for you, or do you just go out for the meal and then have that bit of time there? I was just asking.
Well, there's no dead time for me, okay? So it's like, you know, we've discovered that space as we've been taught, is totally a lie. And so time, if when I'm driving down the road and catching up with people for a meal, which I will be doing in a half an hour, I'm always paying attention and tabulating and cataloguing all of the massive volume of syncretism, which I've only released about 1/100th of my material. The rest is waiting on my computer. So I just have to find the media for which to launch it. But daily, you can rest assured, I will be spending at least 8, if not 10 hours on syncretism. And that's been the way for 10 years, daily. Regardless of whether I sleep well or my teeth are hurting, my love for syncretism is just, it's overwhelming. I serve consciousness, I serve the light, I serve the higher transcendent information. I'm totally in service to truth. Truth is God.
And we love you, Santos.
And we love you, Santos.
Well, as you serve, I am serving. That's my modality, and that's I've been like that since I was young, and I don't see it changing anytime in the future. All right, guys, much love. Thank you very much. I've got to get going, and so we'll catch up on another hangout hopefully soon.
Is everybody going to come and give Santos a hug on the way out? Santos.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
Santos, show yourself. We want to give you a hug.
Okay, video.
Big hugs.
Big hug. Big hug. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
All the
Much
best,
easier.
man. All the best, man.
Much love.
Yeah. Cheers, Bob.
Oh,
Cheers, Bob.
Mwah, Santos.
Awesome.
Santos is gone. Everybody in the chat room enjoyed that. Those that stayed, we've been going for quite a long time today. We started out, I'm actually quite tired now. We started out at 9 o'clock this evening and it is now 2:20. Quite a long hangout.
Yeah. But with a lot of great information. I have to watch this hangout times to really understand everything he was talking about and do some extra research about it. But it was
There came a whole lot in the hangout.
Chris and series. Right, like what's the word? Santos.
Yeah.
No, it's
He
great.
lost the truth. Probably the truth.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see like-minded like Santos and other people, because you get extra feeling that you are on the right track with everything you are researching, because it's
the word I was looking for. An endorsement by Santos. You can't get any better than that, can you really?
Yeah, he's great. And it's also great to when I viewed some opinions about how I see the world, he was agreeing completely with me, and most of the time that doesn't happen. When I am discussing things outside of the Sun and Moon group, people always ridicule it or don't understand it, and he understand it in just 1 second. So that was very enlightening to see he's on the same track as I am.
Cool. So, Chris, what were you going to say?
Pretty much the same thing. It's great to have confirmation from like-minded people and that are on the same path and actually understand what you're discovering and talking about as a group. It's great.
So can't get much better than an endorsement from Santos, can it?
Yeah.
Dan, was that your first hangout with Santos? Is he still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, that was good.
Did you enjoy that then?
Yeah, I was just chilled out listening, apart from the trolls. Had to get beaten on the trolls for a bit, but it's good to have the trolls, you know.
My fault. I didn't set the hangout as slow mode, and then I didn't actually know if I actually just press the edit button, I could do it. I was actually pressing the drop down thing. I could never find it. I don't do it, and I thank you very much, Stan.
Chris
And
knows what he's doing.
Chris, he was trying to help as well. So thank you to those people, because sorry about that. I just want to check. Judith, are you still with us? Israel, she may have gone to sleep, but she will watch this all again. Not sure if Judith's gone to sleep. Patricia.
Yes.
Enjoy that?
Oh, what can I say? Fantastic, yeah. A lot of information there.
So what did you make of Santos and all the talking about then?
Sorry, I missed that.
I said, what did you think of his open sourcing then, the families?
Yeah, I've sort of heard some of his lectures before, and he mentions them, and I've heard them on other people talking about them and stuff, but some of the things he said made sense to me when I look at my life and things that I found out about certain things. So yeah, probably pose more questions than answers, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's like something sort of gets finalized and then something else comes along. But yeah, it's I love Santos.
Yeah, we everybody in the chat room, we love Santos. To explain to the chat room that we've been having hangouts with Santos for quite a long time in our group on Facebook privately. So it's not that he only met us yesterday, and we've spent a long time building our trust up with him, haven't we, Series? He's on mute. Yeah, we spent a long time building our trust up with him, and you know, like I feel quite honoured that I message him most days.
I already speak with him 1.5 years now.
What, before?
He brought me, actually, that was in the time he brought me back to the flat Earth, and then I came across that fourth dimensional stuff of free energy, and that well, yeah, from there everything else came, actually. Ken Wheeler.
Free Anarchy had a new video out, first one in ages.
I haven't seen actually anything yet. I'm not really following free energy
it's not
for a while now.
I think I watched it yesterday.
So many channels who are posting.
Could I just say that was a really amazing hangout, because of course we had David James' Matrix breakout to start with, and then we had Santos and his exposure of the elite families, and then we went into a bit of our research with an endorsement from him. It's been a most amazing hangout, but do you think that we should probably end it now, because we've been going for 5.5 hours?
Yeah, definitely. My matchsticks are starting to break now.
And also Artis and his work as well, and Artis is very happy. Is that your first hangout with Santos, Artis?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It was great
Oh.
interacting with him and giving my visions on how I see the world. And yeah, he's basically has the same vision. And yeah, it's always nice to see that somebody else has the same vision about the subject.
It's interesting. A word to the wise, since we're kind of a panel of wisdom here. A word to the wise is to keep an eye on, if you're looking around scientific journals and
Yep.
news and so forth. Just keep an eye on dielectric elastomers.
Ooh.
We're entering into a new age here, and we're switching from the electric into dielectric. So it's we've gone through the age of electricity and digital age and so forth, and we're walking into a dielectric age.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a point in history when I see things changing very rapidly to a whole new way of doing things, and it's on the opposite side of the equation, right? Dielectric and
Does that mean
diamagnetic.
that we were it, and it's just that word's being used now because it's being turned from, say, electric or all that into dielectric, or are you saying that it's changed?
Well, I think in the past, the ancient cultures were aware of it and used it, for good potential. But now we're going into a new age where the dielectric is going to be applied to other things that may or may not be so good for humanity as a whole. Soft robotics, mimicking biomimicry using diamagnetics and dielectric materials. Just look up soft robots. They're making robots that essentially are a caterpillar with a digital brain, right? And it can crawl around like a caterpillar or fly like a dragonfly, etc. Mimicking life using soft materials, like liquid computers. So it's going to be a whole new dimension coming down the pipe here really fast. So just a word to the wise to keep an eye on that.
What you mean? We're going to suddenly, things are going to move quite quickly. That's what you're saying. It would be great if the flat earth did come out more publicly, because it might change things then. Because things would have to change, wouldn't there? There'd be no NASA.
Yeah, that would save us a lot of money, no NASA.
If flat earth came out, I think it'd be really hard for the governments to stay. Something would drastically have to change because of all the lying to us.
Yeah, some of this stuff is it's real clever in it, but it's not very wise. So,
There's still not called the alien card.
Yeah, well, they're trying to patent right now. They're trying to patent to take control of all the dielectrics right now, right? And all the universities that are doing research on it and everything, they're applying for proprietary patents on dielectric biomimicry, and they're trying to stop the people again from having direct access to the energy.
That's why the most heads of university go to the Bilderberg meeting to exchange their findings.
Flat Earth lady says flat Earth will bust the control grid wide open. Hey. To send love out to everyone. Send lots of love out. I know it sounds silly, but it's easier to be angry and nasty and horrible. It's difficult to be much nicer, especially to an angry world. But slowly, if we give out our love to everyone, hopefully this will change the vibration, hopefully. It's a bit slower than some of us want it to be. Yeah, that's what I say. Give group hugs. Give a bit of love. If you're sure of yourself and know yourself, it's easy to send your love out and to love other people. If you don't know yourself and you don't know what's going on, you don't know, it's hard, isn't it? We're going to end the hangout now. I would like to say thank you so much for coming on, because he was desperate to ask a question. So much, Chris. And now you're Santos stamped. You're endorsed. Oh, well, I suppose we're all Santos stamped.
Yeah.
The series as well. Much love to all my friends here and all the hard work that they do, because we're trying to get this truth out, guys. I hope tonight, if anybody has realised something, that this is what we're doing. This is what these guys are doing, Chris and Series. Thank you, Patricia and Stan, with his 360-degree camera. Judith goes on the beach every day and takes pictures. Yeah, we all do our bit. Patricia does. So, are we going to have one last group hug? Because that was a good hangout, guys. And being endorsed by Santos. So, hugs.
Thank you all. See you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Okay. Oh,
See you
saying
soon.
goodbye.
Love you all.
Thank you very much. Me at
Love
the
you
end,
all.
but anyway, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Big hugs for everybody who stayed and watched, because it was quite a long hangout. Appreciate everybody staying. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Oh, Judith.
Bye.
Judith's there. Mwah.
Yeah.
Like Judith.